Be going live about right now. What is up, Talos of Tech and Apple Sheep everywhere? We're back with our Thursday night live stream. Hopefully, we're catching y'all at a good time. Sorry for everything. I'm sorry for everything. No, for being very all over the place with the live stream schedule. But actually, I think this week we got it back on track. We did pretty much our Tuesday 10 a.m. stream, and then here we are Thursday night at 11:30, trying to reach other parts of the world. And now I can't wait to read all the comments that are like, bruh, it's 2 a.m. Dude, it's 3 a.m. Like, Drew, you need to know what time it is. Why is it so late? Yeah, anyway, the tech person, Rise Waffle, Random Stuff, Stop, Philip, Bosmo, Dennis, how's everyone doing? Was waiting for this. Do you know DeWay? Oh my god. DeWay is the new thing. I guess 2018, starting out strong with all the catchy memes. Never clicked faster on a notification. That is fast. Sad Food says, hi, people. What time start? We're here. We're starting. We are now live. We are now live. And boy, I gotta say, guys, Project 2X is a kick in my butt. I gotta say, like, I've been hyping it up a lot, I know, and probably for a lot of you, it's not going to live up to the hype, but I really hope it does. My God, this is taking so much time, so much work, so much money, and while still trying to produce a video a day for the tech audience, as we're still holding up for. You're still getting a video tomorrow. You're still getting a video every single day or a live stream. But my God, it is just almost a nightmare of work. It's very exciting work, but my God, there's a lot of it, and I'm looking forward to it being over with. Anyway, 8:32 p.m. New Zealand. I'm hiding my name, so this is my username I made up in the spot. So like, yeah, don't worry. You don't need to hide it. When is the reveal of 2X? Keep in mind this could change. This is not official yet. If you want to know exactly when and where, we're going to do the first live stream reveal of 2X. It will not be on the Tech channel. It'll be on Talos of Talks. And if you want the exact link to that live stream, make sure you're following us on social media, whether mostly Twitter, basically Twitter. As of right now, again, this could change. The goal is Tuesday, actually. Yeah, so basically every step of the process with Project 2X went faster than we thought it was going to go. We've been hammering this thing. We've been working as hard as possible. And you do not have to wait until February for the 2X reveal. And I think you're all going to like it. What do you think about AppleCare? It's good for people who know they're not good with their expensive products. I'm pretty good with mine. I haven't had a history of breaking iPhones or dropping things or being abusive to my tech. So in regards to AppleCare, it's not really for me because I've never needed it. Any time I buy an Apple product, I'm usually babying it and I don't worry about breaking it. I'm sure there will be that one time where it'll be like, Drew, you should have got it. It will never be a bad idea to get AppleCare. It's always like, okay, great. Now, if something goes wrong, you're covered. So I'm not saying it's ever a bad idea. I'm just saying, for me, I'd rather save the money and just treat the product well. Am I going to CES 2018? Well, you shouldn't. You probably shouldn't be asking that now, given that we've already gone through a lot of CES, and I'm still obviously here at the tech office. So to answer your question, no, I'm not going to CES. First of all, because most of it's happened already, and second of all, I'm still here. So I am actually, in fact, if you're interested about me not being at CES, the next video, tomorrow's video, is going to be all about that. For the people watching this later in the day, if it's the morning or afternoon for you, it'll be later for today, but because there's only 30 minutes left in my day, but to me that's still tomorrow. So tomorrow, I'm uploading a video on why I'm not at CES. First of all, I'll sum it up for you here. You guys you're watching live, so you should get some exclusive First Peek access. I'm just going to do this real quick because I can and because it means that you don't see where the light switch used to be. Anyway, good day, Mr. Techman. Hello. For one, I'm very busy. You'll see why, hopefully on Tuesday when we do the 2X reveal. I hope that will answer all your questions. You'll be like, okay, that's why it took so much time. You'll be like, this makes sense. But also, I have some mild complaints and uninteresting opinions on my opinions themselves, I hope you find interesting. But my thing is, I don't find CES that exciting. And this is not just a 2018 thing. I've been watching CES long before I was a tech YouTuber. I've been watching CES basically as long as I've been interested in tech. And I got to say, every single video, every single CES, every single year, I'm not terribly excited. There's not some like giant thing that I'm like, oh, that's really, really cool. What I joked about on Twitter is that, for those who don't know, CES stands for Consumer Electronics Show. I'm saying it should be called Concept Electronics Show. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say that if you go to CES or if you enjoy CES, you're wrong, you're stupid. Like, I'm not trying to send off the bad impression. I'm just saying that it's not something I'm super, super hyped about. And secondly, keep this in mind, okay? Most of my audience really only cares about stuff that's related to Apple. That's not, the part of that is my bias, just look behind me. My audience is primarily Apple people, and Apple has very, very little to do with CES. So if I were to fly there or drive there or rent hotels there, it'd be a lot of money on things that I think the core fan base of my audience wouldn't really care about, because they know, like, I don't care much about VR. I've been at war with this topic for a long time. I'm just like, I don't think VR is that exciting. It's interesting, it's cool, it's here to stay, but I don't think it's as big of a game changer as everyone is saying it is. I've been saying that for years, and it turned out over time to be kind of true, because we know a lot of people now who have experimented with VR and used VR constantly and have now said that, you know what, VR is really cool, but it's more useful in like the theme park realm than it is in the home. Both between the social awkwardness of blindfolding yourself, finding games that are actually playable in VR, the number of people who can afford to pay for machines that can do VR. So then when they announced HTC Vive Pro, I'm like, okay. It's like, I thought the problem with VR was that it was so expensive that not a lot of people could use it, and now they're making it more expensive. VR is better than AR in my opinion. I would say the exact opposite, but that's fine. I understand a lot of people not agreeing with that. But the thing is, I think AR has a lot more potential. VR, the more you dive into it, you realize the more limited you are. I feel like I've talked about this a lot, but anyway, we have a super chat, so I want to get to that because those are the people who decide what the topics are about. Ruby donated, says, just want to say that your dedication to quality is very inspiring. Here's a small donation from an Amazon employee. Hope this can help contribute to your channel. Have a great day, /night, /whatever. Thank you very much. It does help. Every little bit counts. And yeah, thank you from an Amazon employee, which is really cool. Amazon is up there definitely in one of my favorite tech companies. It's not like I don't go for the Amazon ecosystem with the Amazon Echo products and stuff, but I have to say that their core creation, the fact that Amazon primarily just ships things very, very well, I use them constantly. I'm constantly using them for Amazon in shipping things to me, and while I haven't truly experienced all of the hardware they've designed, which for the most part I have high opinions on, I think they make quality stuff, but on top of that, just the primary focus of their business about making packages easily accessible and shipping to everyone, I think they do that really, really well. They're the best in the business. There's barely any competition in that field. They have competition, but I think Amazon does it the best, both with the Prime subscription service and the overall. Anytime I've had conversations with customer service from Amazon, they've been incredibly reasonable and generous, and sometimes even if it's not their fault, they will take the hit. Like, for instance, back in the day when I was living at home and the Wi-Fi was really bad, there would be we would rent a Prime movie. So $3 to $4, we'd rent a movie. And then the Wi-Fi, because our Wi-Fi sucked so bad, would make the movie start buffering. And we were like, this sucks. And you have to wait a couple minutes and then it finishes buffering. We reset the router or whatever, and then it works. But then the next day we got an email and it went, hey, it was an email from Amazon, and they said, hey, we're sorry that you had playback issues with your rental last night. That one's on us. It's free now. Super generous company. I super, super appreciate a company that just always puts the customer first, especially in customer service. If I've ever had problems or the wrong item was shipped to me, they're always like, you will not pay a thing. We're going to get this straight away, and we're going to give you credit. Like, my girlfriend bought a car accessory from a third party, not from Amazon themselves, but from someone who was selling on Amazon. And she was like, I ended up not wanting it, so I want to return it. And she did return it, and a couple months went by, and she wasn't getting the refund. So we contacted customer service, and they were like, what didn't you get a refund for? We tell them the product, send back the money immediately. Like, they fix things. I love Amazon. They're good at what they do. Anyway, next super chat is, why are you not an Amazon affiliate? I don't know. I know you can do that. I just haven't done the research enough, or yeah, there's not a main reason I haven't. I need to do that though. It's a good idea. Very good point. Hello. Apple Watch is excellent for a student, mainly because of the reminder, alarm, and calendar features. Yeah, actually, one thing I've been doing recently, to wake myself up at the right time more recently, because of 2X, we've had to be waking up very early in the morning, is that I love setting alarms on the watch, and just like, I have that charge stand on my desk back there. Whenever I'm editing or working on my desk, I'll just let the watch charge. It does not take long. It charges up to 100%, and then I'll just wear it to sleep. What's nice about that is that a lot of alarms that I've used anyway, play song or play the alarm sound, it's not loud enough to wake me up. But one difference I've noticed is that the watch tapping you when the alarm goes off, I can never sleep through that. Whenever I'm asleep, whatever I'm doing, that watch taptic wakes me up no matter what. And perhaps if you're married or just happen to be having a sleepover or something and you're sleeping with someone else, you can be woken up by that silent alarm and not wake up the person next to you, which is very, 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 very clever. What's your dream car? Tesla Model X. I would get that one. Or the semi-truck. I would love the semi. The Roadster's cool, but I honestly, I'm not a big car guy, and I don't... It seems less practical to me. It seems like, ooh, it's the fastest car in the world, but it's like, how often do you get to use that? You're paying so much money for something that you get to use occasionally, whereas being able to have multiple seats and lots of room for moving stuff around, that's far more practical to me. So when I see a Model X, I'm like, that's a cool car. It's electric. It's got the self-driving features, and it also can help haul a lot of stuff. It's got a lot of storage space. Whereas I see the Roadster, and I'm like, yeah, it's real fast, but how often are you going to do that plaid mode? It's really cool that one time you use it, but then you used it and you're done for a while. That's about it. What are your thoughts on the 2018 iPad Pro? So it's been a mess for me recently. I've been wanting to do another video on that, and I asked one of my fans who's done concepts for me in the past to make like a video, like 3D model of it, so we could have like actual conceptual footage of it, like moving around like an Apple demo video or something. And of course, all the ideas you've heard are basically my ideas too. Everyone online basically has the same idea of what a 2018 iPad Pro should be, just the same size bezel all the way around, Face ID, better camera, all that stuff. No home button. You know, it's not that big a deal. Everyone kind of knows exactly what they want, and whether or not Apple will meet it, we'll have to wait and see. We haven't got any rumors yet. We have theories, but not any like definitive leaks. The issue was, actually, I saw today Everything Apple Pro uploaded his 2018 iPad Pro concept video, and I was like, dang it. I mean, it's an open topic. I mean, anyone can talk about it, but I just know now that if I were to upload a 2018 iPad Pro video, everyone's going to be like, Drew, you're just copying Everything Apple Pro. And I'd be like, oh, I've been trying to work on this for a while, but he beat me to it, I guess. So that's just YouTube. Whatever. I don't think everyone would unsubscribe for that. But yeah, I'm trying to be original here, guys. I'm trying. I'm still going to make a video on it. But after watching Phillips, I'm going to try to make one that's very different. And I do actually disagree with a lot of his concepts that he went with, of like how he would like it to be. I don't think Apple's going to make the iPad have curved design like a 10 or a 6. I don't think... the reason they don't do that is because Apple Pencil's drawing on touchscreens and stuff, it makes more sense to have a flat edge opposed to a rounded one, because then when you're drawing and stuff, the pencil doesn't like slide off the edge. I think they'll keep that flat design. But anyway, there's a bunch of little design tweaks like that and stuff. But other than that, very, very similar design ideas. But I mean, everyone has the exact same ideas. It's just make the iPhone 10 into an iPad. That's about it. Anyway, Zachary Doland says, just wanted to say that your videos have inspired me to start showing myself on video again, despite low self-esteem. Would love your opinion on it. Thank you for the Super Chat donation. Yeah, it's a very common problem I've noticed, and not even a problem, it's just a normal thing, for people starting out on YouTube to feel self-conscious or have low self-esteem, like you said, about themselves on video, like how their voice looks or how they look. I feel like that's not really something that you can fix. Well, I guess it is, in a way. It's more of something you get used to. Like, in other words, the more fame you get, the more criticism you're going to get. And of course, we're all human, and one sad fact about humans is if you get 10 nice compliments and one mean one, you're going to notice the mean one, and usually the ratio is not that nice. Like for me, one that I think I might be subconsciously noticing, I don't know if I really am, I don't think I care, but anytime I show my psoriasis hands in a tech video and I get all those comments about how disgusting my hands are, that used to bother me. Now it doesn't really, because I'm just like, focus on what I'm holding, don't focus on the hands. And everyone's like, ew, trim your nails, Drew. And it's like, I can't. It doesn't, like, my nails aren't long, they just don't have, they're all uprooted because of the skin disease, which is gross, I know. But I know I know it's disgusting, but at the same time, it's just something I had to deal with, because it's like, I can't immediately remove this. It takes a lot of medicine and a lot of like soaking it and stuff to get rid of it. But at the same time, a lot of it is affected just by using your hands a lot. And I'm a guy who's working a lot and constantly using my hands. And also, when I first started making videos, and I first started seeing myself on camera, yeah, the first time you see or hear your voice, most people can attest that the first time you hear your voice on camera, it is not the voice you hear in your head. You're like, that's what I sound like? I sound like that all the time and everyone listens to me? What I've noticed is just because I am constantly watching myself and constantly hearing myself for my job, constantly editing my own self and constantly watching my own videos, is that voice that I hear in my head and that voice that's being recorded start to blend together, and you start to become used to it. And you start to realize, I think it's actually good when you see yourself on camera and go, ooh, that's so cringy. Like, that's so embarrassing. I sound awful. As long as you look at it from an optimistic point of view. Don't just look at yourself and be like, I suck. Yeah, I'm terrible. I'm so bad at this. I suck. I know, I'm awkward. I'm terrible. Don't always hate on yourself. There needs to be an adequate balance. Of course, you can't always say you're perfect, because that'll never be true, but you can't always say you're garbage, because that will not always be true. You have to find that perfect balance of, that was a little wrong, I can do better next time. That's always, because I'm a futurist, right? All I talk about in my videos is what's coming out in the future. I want to see where technology is going. Similarly, with how I make YouTube videos, I always want to see how I can make the next one better, how I can make improvements. You're about to get a huge example of that with Project 2X. I'm always shooting to do better, and I'm never going to say that we've reached the best. We'll never be perfect, and I'm never going to say that what we're making now is complete garbage. I always try to find the good and bad in everything, and then go, okay, that we did good, let's do more of that. This part of the video, whether I'm talking too slow, like years ago when I first started doing tech videos, my voice was way too monotone. There was no dialect. There was no emotion to what I was saying in videos. It was just kind of me talking slowly, very monotonely, very quietly too, and there was not much to it. What happened over time is, because I kept editing myself and because I kept watching my own videos, I was like, people don't like the long, drowned out Drew, the long, monotone, boring Drew. I need to make it interesting, whether it's through humor or just being animated. That's why talking with the hands helps so much, you know, like, I don't know. Sorry if that was probably too long of a tangent. But yeah, for the people saying that iJustine dissed you, I don't care, but I'd love to see it. Anytime a major YouTuber references me, I feel so special inside. If you want to show it to me, please tag me on Twitter with a screen recording or whatever. But I didn't know about this. But similarly, like people are like, everything Apple Pro called you the B word, and I was like, can I see? I don't care that he doesn't like me. I still want to see that just the fact that a YouTuber that I watch so royally and I watch all the content he uploads knows that I exist, even if it's in a bad way, is kind of interesting. Not that I'm like, I don't want to be known to him as an annoying person. I don't know why iJustine dissed me or why everything Apple Pro didn't like me. I would prefer it if they did like me, and I'm not trying to intentionally annoy them, but anytime any large YouTuber references me, I'd love to see it because it just makes me feel like, aw, that's so cool. She tweeted, then deleted it? Well, if she deleted it, it couldn't be that good. You should have screenshotted it. You tag it on Twitter and I'll watch it. Yeah, I'd like to. I don't know if this is fake or if this is just you guys actually catching something. I'd like to see the screenshot. I don't know if she ever said anything specific about me, but I don't really care because I'm not subscribed to her and she doesn't have to like my stuff. That's fine. I don't really like her stuff either. Not that she's a bad YouTuber, I'm just not a fan. It's probably fake. Yeah, I'm guessing it is. If she did write it and then deleted it, then I don't buy it. We're not really competition though, that's the thing. I know that there's some people in the chat saying like, well, you compete. It's like, you've seen my videos, right? They're very different than iJustine's. I would almost consider them different genres. That's one of the issues I have with iJustine. It's not that she's a bad YouTuber. I'm not trying to diss on her or say that she's a terrible person or anything. She's a fine YouTuber and she's captivated a huge audience, which means that she's a successful person. She's doing a great job. Huge history on YouTube. She's been around through a lot of stuff and through a lot of Apple. She's very close with Apple. But what I've noticed is that most of her channel is not really tech stuff. She's primarily kind of a vlogger, just showing off her life. I don't really watch her videos to get her opinions on tech. It's more like she is what people go there for. They don't go there to find out more about the iPhone X. You go there because it's iJustine. Whereas I think opposite end of the spectrum, not that it's bad. This isn't a spectrum of good to bad. This is just differences. Everything Apple Pro, I think most of his fan base doesn't really go there for him. They don't go there to watch Everything Apple Pro. Usually, he's doing some video on this is all the new changes in iOS. This is the iPhone X drop test or the shooting it test or dropping it in dry ice. They're going there for that. They're going there for that knowledge. They're not going there to find out what Everything Apple Pro likes to eat for lunch. Whereas iJustine, you do. It's just different genres. I'm also a different genre. My idea was that you don't put all of your vlogs, tech videos, gaming videos, social commentary videos. You don't put all that on one channel. You diversify. That way, if your fans who want that can watch it, but if they don't have to see it in their subscriptions feed. That was my idea. I come here for you. That's good. I know there's some people on either side. Anyway, there was a donation here. Urine DJ says, I own the latest MacBooks and love them, but I also love the Note 8. I feel super productive when using the two together. I've owned iPhones, but it's boring. Well, I don't know if that was the 10, but at the same time, yeah, I guess, yeah, I mean, they have USB-C. That part of them works together. I'm so bored with Android, because Android, like, never changes. Like, there's barely any... there's software updates every year, but then Samsung users won't get them for another year. And then the Samsung skin is fine, but it's just kind of dull to me. I'm glad you enjoy them. Like, I'm not trying to convince you that you're not having a nice time with them. But, yeah, I think Casey Neistat does that. He loves using his MacBook Pro alongside his Galaxy Note 8. They both have the same port, but other than that, I don't see how they cooperate with one another other than like uploading to Google Photos and downloading them on the Mac. But yeah, what I like is that the iPhone, both through continuity, through iMessage, SMS texting on the MacBook, and AirDrop, and unlocking the MacBook with your Apple Watch. Like I love all that continuity. I don't really know what the Note 8 and MacBook do together. Not much, other than charge with the same port. I don't know. I'm glad you like them, though. I'm not trying to convince you don't like them. Zachary Dolan donated again, says, I have the same skin issue, which is why I like that Apple got rid of Touch ID. Could you give me some constructive criticism on my video? Be grateful. Well, thank you for your donation. I'm not going to do it live. I'm going to focus on the chat right now, but I'll open your channel in a separate link and check that out later. So, yeah, thank you very much. If you guys want to give constructive criticism, not just bashing, you guys saw the super chat. You can tap on his name too if you want to check him out and tell him what things he can do differently. That's also a very specific Patreon perk, just because while I would love to specifically review and check out every single one of my viewers' channels that they're working on, there's too many of you, and sadly that problem is just going to get worse as time goes on. But if you want like a full review of your channel, that is a Patreon perk, and all you got to do is the specific perk, and then DM me your channel URL, and I'll check it out and let you know what I think about it. That's not necessarily because I need all the money in the world, but it's just that if everyone asked me to do it, it would be very hard for me to be selective about it. It's like, okay, I'll review this one, but not this one. Like, it gets annoying. Yeah, we don't need what is it? How do I scroll out of this? There we go. Thank you, iSuperSpeedy. Yeah, we got a lot of spammers in chat. What does it say? Is it worth getting an old Apple product, iPhone 6, etc.? I don't think so. I don't. But I guess that's my financial situation. If you're on a tight budget, I don't recommend switching to Android. I just recommend switching to a refurbished or like new older iPhone, which can get really, really cheap. I did hear about a what was it? I did hear that for a while Apple was signing downgrade permissions that you could. They've already patched this up and fixed it, but for a while it was like, I think it was. Why do I not have all my options here? It's annoying. Oh, okay. They just renamed it. You could downgrade your old iOS devices to iOS 6 and Apple would verify it. I think it was only available for a couple hours. I saw that in the news recently. It's already been patched. You can't do it anymore. But is Apple at a disadvantage against Samsung's concerning smart homes? At CES, we've seen how smart things can interact from your fridge to your phone. Is this important to Apple? How could they compete? It's cool that you can do all the smart home stuff. But I don't think it's important to Apple, because I don't think you're not going to buy the iPhone because your iPhone doesn't talk to your fridge. I think Apple's, like, again, if you haven't yet, please watch The Grand Theory of Apple. Apple's all about making technology get out of the way as much as possible, where Samsung seems to be coming up with smart devices for the sake of them being smart. Like, why does our fridge need to be smart? You just open it, look inside. I don't know. Okay, now you can add the grocery list to the fridge itself. It's like, I could do it on my phone. Or now you can look inside the fridge with a camera from your phone. It's like, okay, is that why you buy a Samsung phone? Just so you can look in the fridge? Like, it's not going to convince iOS users to switch. So no, I don't think it's a disadvantage to Apple. Apple's not about making as many products as possible. They're making products where they count. Will Apple actually create an iPhone SE 2? It sounds like it, honestly. I've been hearing quite a lot of reports and leaks, and for a long time, we kept getting those rumors, and it kept being like, maybe, maybe not. And now, there's enough of them that I think it's going to happen. I think there is going to be a glass-backed one. Oh, great. I have $600 I've been saving for a while, and I want to get into YouTube. What do you recommend? I need help. Let's see. $600. What's the equivalent? Well, first of all, keep in mind that making YouTube videos is not about exactly the quality of your equipment. That's not everything. It's important in the long run if you want people to keep watching you. But you can get really far on some really basic tech. So one thing I'd recommend if you're into very light editing is the 2017 iPad. That thing is very cheap, and it's capable of editing videos pretty well, as my friend edits a lot of his vlogs on his 2017 iPad. I don't recommend necessarily getting your own dedicated camera. The camera on your phone, if you just upgrade your phone to something a little bit nicer, like a 7 or even a 6S will do fine. Vlogging or filming your tech vids or whatever on something like that is perfectly reasonable. There's even little microphone attachments that don't cost too much that you can attach to your phone that'll make your videos sound a lot better. And then you can airdrop your footage to your iPad and have a pretty good editing setup there. $600, you're not really getting into the realm of MacBook purchases or Final Cut or DSLR purchases like the camera. Yeah, it's right off. It's too far away. The camera I'm recording my tech videos right now, I've had for 4 years. The FZ300, that was $600 on its own. Great camera, but that would be your whole budget, and there's no sense in buying a camera like that if you can't edit it on anything. But yeah, think small and think about devices that have multiple purposes. So if you're on a budget like that, don't spend all your money on one thing. And first of all, and also work on increasing your income, because as long as I've been making YouTube videos, I was working on the side to supply the income, just because it would have been impossible for me to grow to the extent that we are now on a phone and an iPad. Like editing on that, you can only do so good, and you can only get the attention of so many people. But because I had that income always coming in fact, I can't really remember a time when I wasn't working and making money on the side, to the fact that I think I always had something of some form coming in. Whom would you have next collab with? Now that we have the Tailosive Tech podcast on Apple Podcasts, I was actually thinking about asking MKBHD if he wants to be on it again. It's very tricky to arrange because he's a very busy guy, especially right now. I wouldn't ask him right now. But at some point, maybe asking him to be on the podcast again, just because he was a cool guy to talk to. And it's been a while, obviously, since the collab. I believe that was August and September when we released that. Another YouTuber I would love to collab with, though. Who was it? Now, I know he's not interested, so don't ask him. But if Everything Apple Pro ever did want to, I would love to, just because I watched so many of his videos. I don't know what we do. Honestly, we make very different kinds of videos, so it would be kind of interesting. Again, we might just do a podcast, if possible. But what's interesting about that is he lives in Portland, Oregon, which I've been to many times. It's not terribly far away from where I am in Northern California. Like, that's just a one-day road trip. And he'd be a really cool guy to talk to. Austin Evans, Jonathan Morrison are really cool YouTubers that I don't watch exclusively, but they seem like really nice guys, and they'd be cool people to collab with. Again, if iJustine reached out, I probably would say yes. I don't hate all these YouTubers, despite what people may say. But yeah, that's not going to happen either way. And don't pressure them to. G7, $500, rest of money spent on a Rode microphone. I guess, but again, if you don't have anything to edit that on, you're kind of screwed. Editing saves a lot. Keep that in mind. You can have a really nice camera, but if you don't edit things correctly, that it won't matter. Thoughts on Logan Paul? You can watch my Logan Paul thoughts video on Tailosive Talks. I did a whole video on that, not monetized, of course, but you can watch that there. Yeah, I don't bring that onto the tech audience. Let's see. Do you remember when you responded to iPhone 10 parodies and you watched that Samtime guy? He responded to you and he insulted you for your channel name, so RIP. Yeah. No, that's fine. No, I don't mind about that. People are allowed to rip me. They're allowed to not like me. Yeah, he makes parodies. I was a little confused by them because I couldn't tell if he was for or against Apple. It just sounded like he hated everyone, which is fine, but just not really my style. But yeah, I thought my name was weird, but I mean it is. It's not a word. It's a made up term, but I made it specifically so that if you searched it, you would only get me. Whereas I think something like Samtime, I don't know, you might get confused with someone else. I don't know. I don't search these things. He seems like a fine YouTuber. He's got a much larger audience than I do, so he's obviously doing something right, and I wish all the best to him. I hope he doesn't take me as a hater. I don't hate anyone. Drew, do you think that the HomePod will have the ability to connect to a lot of smart home devices like Philips Hue lights? I'm guessing it's HomeKit enabled, just like your phone. Yeah. I don't have thoughts on Supreme. I don't care about that. What's the most satisfying device to unbox for you? Ooh, really good question. Um, iPhones are always great. There's something about something that small that feels so like luxurious, like the stainless steel and the glass body, and the first time unboxing that is really satisfying. However, given I've only done this like 3 times in my life, unboxing an iMac is extremely satisfying just because of the smell of it, which I know sounds weird, but it has a very definitive smell to it that's just like fresh off the factory line, and then pulling that plastic off of the front of the iMac Pro. That is like, it's very satisfying. Drew, I defended Pixelbook. What you think of me? I'm confused. I don't know why you would defend the Pixelbook, given that Marquez, a guy who loves the Pixel 2, that's his favorite phone, that's his daily driver. Even he thinks the Pixelbook is weird. He's like, I don't get this thing, and I doubt he uses it. I doubt that's in his tech bag. So as someone who loves Google and loves the Google ecosystem and the Pixel, he doesn't even like that, and I think it's ridiculous. I think it's crazy stupid that something that runs Chrome OS would cost $1,000 or more. It's just ridiculous. Would you do a podcast with Linus if you had the time not running a company? There's not many people I wouldn't do a podcast with, to be honest. I mean, like large YouTubers. If I asked them, like, hey, would you like to be on a podcast, and they agreed, we would just do it. Would you ever consider doing a meet and greet at the Roseville Mall? Just noticed that I also live near there when you bought the iPhone 10. Someday, yeah. I don't know if the crowd would be wide enough for it to be kind of worth it, just because doing a meet and greet or whatever would be separating myself from the office, which would mean less videos get made, which means less content for the masses, but for a handful of you, you get a one-on-one experience. I can't say any time soon, but yeah, there's something like that probably going to be possible. Maybe like meeting up at Apple HQ one day. Louise or maxed out iMac Pro? Louise, any day. Come on, iMac Pros are stupid. Easily Louise every single time. Do you prefer Google Photos over iCloud? The problem with services discussions is that you don't have to choose one. Like when we're talking about phones, a lot of people are in the market for a new phone, and they're wondering if they should invest in an iPhone 10 or a Note 8, and I'm going to tell them iPhone 10 because you get more out of it. The difference with Google Photos and iCloud is that when you have an iPhone, you can use both. You don't have to choose. Like, I use both. I like that Google Photos is unlimited storage, so if I need to offload my device from all its pictures and videos, I just open Google Photos, let it back up all its stuff, and then free up the space. And also iCloud for backups, like iCloud backups, and then iCloud Drive folders and stuff that I put on my desktop that I want to see available everywhere else. It's good for that. You don't have to choose one or the other. So it's kind of a silly way to debate. Which storage size did you get for the 10? 256. And I have used, let's see, I have used in the storage 140 gigs. So a little over half. But yeah, I've never, with a 256 gigabyte device, I've never gotten to the point where I've got the storage is full option on here. Never. But I feel like maybe because we got quite a bit of the year left and I'm vlogging quite a bit with the iPhone 10, I might get to that point. Have you ever tried Spotify? If so, what are your thoughts compared to Apple Music? I have tried Spotify. It's really nice. It works very well. It's just they can't beat the fact that Apple Music is optimized for so many things on the Apple ecosystem. Like when iPhone 10 comes here, Apple Music is ready, Spotify is not. The fact that I can stream Apple Music from my cellular watch, I can't do that on the... oh, there's a bug in here. I'm sorry. Go away. We should call this room iOS 11. But Apple Music is optimized on everything so well, and Spotify is usually a few steps behind in terms of optimization. So that's why I go with Apple Music. Services-wise, they're almost exactly the same. Many people make fun of Android. Yeah, many... Stop. Google just goes up. Many people make fun of Android. Nope, didn't go off that time. It just goes off randomly. Can you make fun of Android? Every day. Did you know you can use 3D Touch keyboard and it will easier locate where the... yeah. You can 3D Touch on the keyboard and decide where the cursor goes. It's great. Should Apple buy Tesla? I kind of want them to do their own thing. I think Tesla's doing fine. They don't need to be bought out. And I'd rather Apple work on their own car to compete with Tesla because I think they can afford to do that. But if Tesla was in a dire situation in which they started spending more money than they had and they went bankrupt, I think Apple would be the first one to try to buy them out. So, Drew, for Google, you only have 15 gigs of storage unless you have a Pixel or Pixel 2 line, just letting you know. Yeah, Ben, I get it. I pay the extra fee. I have 100 gigs of Google Drive storage. And storage is very, very cheap. The one issue I have with iCloud Drive is that with iCloud Drive, it's very, very hard to share files with other people. Google Drive, it's very, very easy. But again, I don't say one is better than the other just because you can use both. So it's like you only get 15 gigs for free. With iCloud, I think you only get 5, which is worse, but it's more encrypted. See, Google has access to your documents in Drive. But again, I pay for the extra on both. Like I paid extra so I could have, I think it was 200 gigs of iCloud storage, and then I have 100 gigs of Google Drive storage. It's only like $2 for 30 days, so $24 a year. It's nothing. Anyway, another donation from Ruby says, it's me again. I recently bought an Apple Watch Series 3, and it has made my life so much better. Phones aren't allowed at the Amazon Workplace, so my watch and AirPods keep me sane during long work nights. That sucks that phones aren't allowed. I'm sorry to hear that, but yeah. Perfect example, guys, of how the Series 3 cellular can be extremely beneficial to people who can't or don't want to have their phone on them at some time. If you made a tech company, what would you make? I love that question just because I do, in my spare time, work on concepts, both hardware and software, of what I would do if I started my own tech company. And I'm never going to say it's impossible that might happen one day, decades down the line. But if I ever had the money and power to do so, I have a lot of ideas of how I would do my own technology. And I actually don't want to publish a bunch of videos on how I would do it because I want to wait until that time has come. Because just keep in mind that if you like my videos and you like my ideas and opinions, just apply all that logic to starting my own tech company. And just know that a lot of the decisions I would make and the design choices I would go with make a lot of sense and take a lot of original approaches. And as far as I see them, I find them completely original. But what I can tell you is that I don't think any tech company really does compete with Apple in the sense that Apple works. I think companies have different ideologies and compete with Apple in that way. But Apple has kind of this own uniqueness to them that I don't really think they have competition in a way. Obviously, they have a competition, but in the term of their playing field, they don't. Apple designs the software and hardware inside and out, and they make that exclusive to their products. Really, no other company does that. No other tech company designs their own software and hardware and makes them work together and makes them only available on their product. Because you got Microsoft, they make their own hardware and software and put them together sometimes, but again, their software is available on anything. And Google makes the Pixel, but they... Stop. That made a little more sense. But at the same time, Google... come on, these stupid things. At the same time, Google lets Android be used by anyone. I would make a company that would truly rival Apple by battling them with the same ideologies. And I would understand that if you can't make a product that is undeniably better than every other product on the market, then it should not be released. So that idea of not releasing a product until it's completely ready, not rushing things, not saying, it's good enough, I would apply that to my tech field. Like I wouldn't release just one product. I would release a ton of products all at the same time just because of how you guys know I care about an ecosystem. So I know that if I release just a phone, there'd be no point. It would die immediately. So I wouldn't even try to make a market that would compete unless it could actually rival Apple's ecosystem. So just keep that in mind. Audio not in sync. Refresh if that happens. It's YouTube's fault mostly. Drew, where are your iPhone 2G and 3G models? Maybe you didn't hear, but I don't own those. A fan sent them to me, wanting me to make videos about them and show them off. So once I did the video on them, I had to send them back. They didn't belong to me. Apple would buy you out. Well, it has to be a mutual agreement. You can't be forced to be bought out. So, while if Apple tried to buy out Tailosive, that'd be kind of cool. I'd probably say no. It would depend on how much control I had over the company. We're not bankrupt, so we don't need to do that. I think the 2018 iPhone naming scheme will be exactly what you just said. 2018 iPhone. That's the new names. What company outside of tech is the most like Apple aside from Tesla? Let's see. Outside of tech. Well, I mean, that's kind of hard to... What companies like Apple? I don't know exactly how to answer that, but I can tell you that one company that's not tech related that I strongly support and love is Les Schwab. I know that's nothing to do with tech, but that's kind of what you were bringing up, is that every time I go to Les Schwab, they just tell you exactly what you need. They're very quick about it. Everyone is confident and secure. And whatever Les Schwab does for taking care of your car, they're doing it right. And I've gone there for years, and I had great service there. So I don't know exactly what answer you were looking for, but I will just say that I love Les Schwab. The podcast with your dad was the best yet. It was so good to hear about Apple and other tech from a teacher and older person. Also, have you got an idea for who's going to be on this week, or is it Nick? It's most likely going to be Nick, and there also is a chance that there won't be a podcast this week because 2X development right now is crazier than ever, and we're trying to get it done before Tuesday as much as and efficiently and as quality as possible. We'll try to. If I have the time, we'll definitely do one. But yeah, it'll most likely be Nick, your regular co-host, which I'm fine with. He does a great job, and we should be very, very thankful that we have fans like him that are willing to do the work to make that podcast and kind of manage it and make it happen. But yeah, if you were curious, me and my father, Toby Erickson, the Apple Shepherd, we did a podcast together on the Tailosive Tech podcast, and it was mostly him talking about Apple through the ages and about Apple in our family and why we've always kind of had this brand loyalty to Apple. Why all this is here today is because before Tuesday, I can't wait. Well, because Tuesday is the reveal, but yeah, we'll be working on 2X constantly up until Tuesday. But yeah, if you want to hear me and my dad talk about the history of Apple and our history together, you should check that out on both Apple Podcasts and SoundCloud. Are you going to review the Galaxy S9? I don't know, honestly. I thought I was for a long time because I kept saying, like, well, of course, it's like probably going to be the best Android phone of the year until the Note 9. But that's quite a ways away. I was like, well, of course I'll review it. But now that I'm seeing that so much of the S9 is nearly identical to that of the S8, I don't think I need to buy it and review it to tell you what I think of it. I can tell you that I think it's probably going to be the best Android phone. And when it comes out, you'll see me make a video saying, yep, that's the best Android phone you can buy. It still runs Android, so I'm not switching, but it's the ecosystem that it loses on. But it's a standalone phone. I think it's great. Samsung makes amazing displays and hardware, and I think that the S9 is going to be the best yet. I think Venya Geskin, a little bit before I went live here, posted a picture of the back of a Galaxy S9 box, and it had the list of features on it. And some cool features that stood out, like I think one of them was that the aperture of the rear-facing camera was f1.5, incredibly good for low light, so the camera on there is going to be insanely good. Another thing I saw that I was interested in was it said stereo speakers. So I criticized them last year for this. I was like, it's really embarrassing that they're still not doing this. But with the S9, I think they're finally going to make the earpiece speaker extra loud, and then you'll have the stereo speakers on a Samsung phone finally, because that was, for a long time, even to this day, I think a big problem with Samsung phones was the speakers on them were not very good, and if you covered up the one on the bottom, it instantly got quiet, so I think this will fix that. But other than that, not a whole lot changed. I think the battery's slightly larger. I bet Samsung's going to introduce their face unlock thing. That's, of course, a billion times better. But yeah, other than that, there's the fingerprint readers in a different place. It's a very, very minute upgrade. In fact, it's probably going to be one of the least substantial Galaxy upgrades in a long time. I don't know what the big change is. Like the big flagship. Like the iPhone 10, I feel like had several big giant changes. Like this is the first time iPhones are getting wireless charging. This is the first time in any phone we've seen 4K at 60. This is the first time we're ditching the home button. Like so many changes here. Whereas the Galaxy S8 to Galaxy S9, I think is very, very small changes. And I think they're going to have a hard time selling it. Can you do a video on Patreon where you swear? I don't know what that would help with because probably people would just donate on Patreon and then take the video down and re-upload it. That's likely what has happened. Oh, but that's something I was going to talk about. Here, why don't I get this out? Because we're nearing the end of our live stream. We got about 10 minutes. We're going to 10 minutes left. I've made a decision, people. I've made a choice just because I've decided after thinking a long time about... can I get this out here? There we go. After thinking a long time about all of the places I could use my... Are they in here? Here they are. My exclusive black Apple stickers. For the that came with the iMac Pro, and they don't come with anything except the iMac Pro. I thought about lots of places I could put them, but ultimately decided, you know what? You guys are the ones who made this purchase possible. And because I can't really decide where I want to put these, I'm going to be doing the next Patreon giveaway. For those of you who don't know, Patreon members get to partake in a giveaway once a month. And the January giveaway, I've decided, is going to be, of course, the regular signed, handwritten letter by yours truly, thanking you for your support of the Tailosive Network. And keep in mind, I basically never write handwritten letters. But if you win the giveaway, you get one of the very few times I ever make one of those. So the Apple stickers will be included in that giveaway. So this is anyone who's donating. Doesn't matter if it's $1 or $10 or $50. You can be eligible for the Apple sticker giveaway. So that's the next one coming up. You can get that sticker and then, of course, the signed letter from me. So I'm going to keep that premium in the box for now. But yeah, I decided that I was going to sell them for a lot, but because no one was interested in paying that much for them, which I don't blame you for. I was just mentioning that I wanted to keep them. But now I figured you guys are the ones who made this possible. I shouldn't be greedy about it. So back to you guys. It should be granted to by the fans, and then you can decide where you want to put those black Apple stickers. Anyway, lightning cable, heck no. I'm still keeping that unless you want anyone who super chats $200 gets the lightning cable and a signed note easily. But I want that. It's so rare. In your opinion, what was the most significant iPhone release besides the original? iPhone 10. I thought we did that and asked Tailosive. Where's the RGB in the setup? I don't get that thing, honestly. Everyone's like all about that RGB thing. It's like, it's so counter what I thought gamers were all about. I thought gaming devices and gaming hardware was all about speed and like efficiency for the best gaming performance. But then the RGB phase is like, no, look, and pretty colors too. It's like, it's a very fast and capable gaming PC, but also the keyboards change color, which is fun. And it's like, I don't get that. I thought gamers just wanted something that was sleek and stealthy and powerful, but they also like pretty colors. So they like speakers that shine different colors. Like, I don't get it. I don't care about that RGB thing. If anything, I like having one or two similar colors across all my products, like the space gray thing. Do you think an RGB Apple logo would be cool? To people who care about that, but not me. I would set it to one color and never change it. I'm not interested in constantly changing the... I mean, I change watch bands, but that's not a glowing light. You kind of have to wear watch bands. Please review the Pixel 2 XL. It's only $700. The reason I don't want to is, first of all, that is a lot of money, even for me. I know I've got a lot of expensive stuff behind me, but keep in mind I bought all that stuff. That money is gone now. It's not like I have an infinite supply. And second of all, I already know how I feel about the Pixel 2. I've used one briefly. I didn't buy it and use it permanently, but in the brief time I did use it, God, I hated it so much. And just by watching what other people have said and by knowing the features it does not have that I use constantly on my iPhone, I already know how I feel. Buying it's not going to change my opinion. I've bought a lot of tech in my time and realized that buying the tech does not make me change my mind about it too much. Yes, I'll get the HomePod. iPad Pro, the next one will be called iPad Pro 10, and the design will be based on the iPhone 10 as well. Do you think that will actually happen? No. Maybe it'll be the 10. I don't know. Apple's always weird with the naming thing. They might do something weird like iPad Pro 10, but again, that confuses the lineup even further. I mean, what did they do this year? They just called it the iPad Pro again, which is likely what they'll do this year. They'll be like, no, the 2018 iPad Pro. Which looks totally different. But nah, probably not call it the 10. What makes you love Apple? Exclusives, optimization, and uniformity. How do you think the LG OLED panel is going to compare to the Samsung OLED panel? I'm curious to see what Apple can do with this new acquisition. Yeah, is what you're referring to the idea that, or the rumor that LG is going to supply the displays for the extra large iPhone 10 Plus, the what was it, the 6.5-inch phone, and then Samsung will do the 5.8-inch one? I think they'll look nearly the same. I think Samsung and LG, while they're different companies, when they're doing contract work for Apple, like just manufacturing a bunch of displays, they just have to follow exactly what Apple wants. I don't think design-wise they're going to be much different. They'll probably look identical. Ecosystem 2. Well, I would classify that as under uniformity. Uniformity meaning everything works together, feels like it was designed by the same people, the same ideals. Yeah. How much is mod on Patreon? I believe it's 20. The reason I make that kind of hard to get, guys, is not because I don't want anyone to be mod. It's just that too many people want to be a mod. And it's very hard to show bias against, like, you can be mod, but you can't. And then they're like, how come they get the blue wrench? But keep in mind, we've got a lot of moderators. I can mod as well, and we don't need an infinite number of mods. We can, you don't need the little blue gear by your name to feel special. Do you think that we should be able to have widgets on the home screen iPhone? I don't know. I don't. Not that, I don't care. I don't think we need to. No, to answer your question. Apple will add Touch ID under the screen. I don't. I think we're done with Touch ID. I think they're going to try to phase that out as much as possible, unless they can't. Like with the new SE, they'll probably keep Touch ID. But I think their method of thought right now is Face ID is better, Touch ID is the old way. That's good, but Face ID is better. We don't know the AirPower release date either, but as soon as it is available, I'll be getting one. No worries. When do you think Face ID will come to MacBook Pro? Maybe this year. I feel like it's not a terrible amount of redesign, but I could be wrong. I don't know. There's been no talks about it. I know that Apple wants Face ID to be on everything eventually, but it's going to take a while, I'm sure. I'll be kind of bummed out when there's a MacBook with Face ID and I'll be using this one. It'll be like, dang it. I have a question, Drew. If the new 2018 iPad have a glass on the back and capable of wireless charging, how's it going to charge wirelessly? It takes maybe 3 or 4 wireless charging pads. Yeah, that was something good. Thank you for bringing that up, Kendra. That's something I wanted to bring up in my video, is that wireless charging has been very similar for a long time. You know, they just built it for smartphones. But what I think the iPad getting wireless would do is it would be very, very different. It would be Apple's new revolution of wireless, which is saying that we can do this on a larger scale and make it work. And I think one idea is that AirPower, the whole mat, could charge an iPad just by itself. If you dropped an iPad on a AirPower charging mat, it could charge it. But yeah, you would have to pay more, and you'd have to pay for an extra space for the, I don't know, Qi 2.0, like the larger devices wireless charger. But we don't see Samsung really pushing that, and I'm kind of confused by that. The fact that Samsung's always about minimal bezels and shrinking bezels and curving displays, but then when they design a tablet, it looks like an iPad Air. And they don't do the wireless charging thing, even though it has a glass back and they have thick bezels. They don't apply all the cool things about the Galaxy phones to their tablet. Whereas I think if Apple does that, they won't be first to wireless charging, of course, but they'll be first to revolutionize it and make it more powerful on larger devices, starting with the iPad and hopefully next year moving to MacBooks. Anyway, Super Chat. Future of which Apple product excited you the most? Future of which Apple product excited you the most? Are we talking past tense? Oh. Future of which Apple product excited about you? Which current Apple product are you most excited to see the future of? As for this year, I'm not too excited for the iPhone upgrade. It's going to be bigger. I don't think, other than that, much of it's going to be different. But the Apple Watch, I think, is going to be a big year for, because we've had the same design for so long, and now that they've nailed functionality across all the different generations this year, they've got to change the design of it to get people interested in it again. And I'm very curious to finally see like an actual design refresh of the Apple Watch. So that it'll be a big year for. Same with the iPad. iPad's probably going to get one of the largest changes we've ever seen this year, which will be neat, but I don't think it'll change the way you use it very much. Other than the gesture control. So I guess iPad's cool. Apple Watch is cool. I don't think MacBooks are going to change much this year. They'll probably be mostly the same. The modular Mac Pro might come out this year, but I don't think it's going to be as modular as people think it's going to be. So, somebody touch my spaghetti. Yes, I watch Meme Review today too. Would you do a podcast with Apple Sheep and podcaster extraordinaire CGP Grey? Yes, I'd have to figure out who he is and then contact him. But yes, anyone, really, I'm interested in. Well, guys, we've reached our hour. And because I am dead and I am very, very tired, I'm going to wrap it up. I'd love to keep answering questions. But, oh my God, I just realized the next stream, which would be Tuesday, that's going to be, hopefully, the 2X reveal. That might change. Something can go wrong. We might have to delay it till Wednesday or Thursday, but most likely next week, aiming for Tuesday, is going to be the reveal for 2X. So that's going to be the next live stream. But I don't think it will be a tech stream. Well, we might do a tech stream. Who knows? We'll see. We'll see how we do. We'll see how we do that day. But I can tell you there will be a live stream for the Project 2X reveal on Tailosive Talks. That goes more in depth. You'll see. Okay, I don't want to spoil it. Anyway, thank you guys for all your donations and comments. Keep in mind, you can donate anything at all on Patreon to be the winner of the Black Apple stickers, the only stickers you can get with an iMac Pro. You can't get it anywhere else. So yeah, anything at all on Patreon will make that help. Know that it's supporting a good cause, making Tailosive better. And moving us into the future, allowing us to review better things and buy better stuff to make better videos and make more videos. So, this is your Apple Sheep here, and I will see you in the next one. Have a great evening.